20 miles. Oh, 5:16.
So we're going to go through the run, 20 bloody miles, actually really tough. You can see how tired I am at the end there. That's 20 miles at 5:17. It's a pretty rough gravel track, not the best sort of running in the world, lots of potholes, rolling the ankle. I ended up with massive blisters on my feet, blisters that were hurting around mile 12, mile 13. I had every reason in the world to probably stop, but the whole purpose of a run like that is just like race day. You've got to deal with whatever you're given and find a way to get bloody through it. I'm now 10 days away until London Marathon. I've built this whole, you could call it campaign or story or you know, even YouTube series, you could say, about trying to make the Paris Olympics and the marathon. And it's sort of crazy, but equal amounts frightening, and I mean really frightening, that in the best part of 10 days, you know, it'll all be over. So what I'm going to show you today is my most recent long run. It was just Sunday gone, which marks 2 weeks before London Marathon. It was 20 miles, and honestly, the goal was to just work. You try not to get too stressed when you're out there, or I certainly do. I try to remind myself to, you know, be present, be sort of here now. Speed, things like that, they're going to be dictated by where's the body's freshness at. You know, what's the terrain like that you're running in or on. They're also going to be dictated by the weather, you know, perhaps what shoes are you wearing on your feet. And so I can't totally control the pace. And so that I didn't get like frustrated about, oh my goodness, I'm not running this speed, or oh my goodness, I need to speed up. I tried to just allow myself to work into the long run. So then once I got to that good, hard, you know, comfortable effort, I just rolled with it. And so I probably started going a little bit quicker than I maybe projected. I had a rough idea earlier into the sort of, you know, run. But then it's a case of, well, you know, this might happen on race day. So you just have to then sort of deal with it and figure things out as you go along. The goal of a long run like that is to sort of get to a feeling in your head or in your legs where you start to think, you know, I'd be happy enough to do 14 miles, not 20. Or 16 would be a good day, 18 would be a great day, but even 16 at this pace, on this loop, you know, on this terrain, I've been tired lately, that's a good day. And then you've got to do a bit more. And if I'm being totally honest, the main bulk of the benefit of that day comes in those final few miles. It comes from dealing with and working through everything and anything that pops up along the way, just like it might on race day. And that's about as specific as it can possibly get. So that run went really well. I was happy with that. You know, things had popped up, the blisters, the you know, bit of a stitch, and you just work your way through it. And then when you get it done, you have this confidence, this sort of new earned confidence. All right, I think I can get the job done in London. I can tell you now that for 5 days, so the Monday, the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, probably like, yeah, and even the Friday, London wasn't looking good. It didn't mean that I wasn't going to race. I was always going to race, 100%, because it closes a bit of a chapter for me and everyone that supported me. But it wasn't looking good. I went from being able to do 18 miles at like 5:12 per mile to suddenly I'm running 5:15 pace, 5:20 along this sort of towpath at home. And it wasn't great. And I got really negative about it. And I got negative because you'll understand this, but it felt like running can be a bit unfair. And I've obviously been dabbling in the business world, and I've got the running school, and please go have a look at some of the merchandise. I think I ordered a little bit too many t-shirts, and I am doing a little bit of a deal. If you buy some merchandise, you can get discount 40% off the school, so you can check that out. But where I'm going with that is, in the business world, normally when you make an investment, apart from buying too many t-shirts, but normally an investment, you get a positive return. And I'm talking time, energy, focus, hard work. It sometimes kills me in running that you know, I added things in after Lisbon, the altitude tent, you know, some sauna stuff in case it was going to be hot at London. And it's kind of like you over-tried. And because you over-tried, now you're having to analyze, did I make a mess of this? You know, did I, you know, sort of fuck things up? And I couldn't run 2Ks the speed I'd done an 18 mile 3 days before. And I was devastated. And I went out that night and foolishly, I tried again. I just thought maybe the morning was a blip and that evening would have went great, and it didn't. And I got so sad and frustrated because it just felt like, why now? Why with like 2.5 weeks to go, when literally after Lisbon, things just went uphill. Everything was feeling really good. The confidence was higher. I was feeling better. I started to do some sessions where, you know what, I sort of thought, I might bloody pull this off. And then that 4 or 5 day period, it made stuff difficult. But what did it do, which can give you guys some advice? Had an absolute meltdown. The race was over, running was over, it was dead to me. I was done, I was finished, I was fed up, which, who can blame me? You know, everyone started telling me, you've had a lot of birthdays, you've been in this sport a long time, you know, there's no guarantee that your body will handle the training the same, blah, blah, blah. And I didn't think that was it. And I went into this real negative spiral. Maybe I am too old, maybe I can't do this, maybe I haven't trained like I have before, and so the fitness isn't where it needs to be. And I decided not to, you know, add anything else new in. So I ditched the altitude tent, and I kind of got annoyed that I even added the altitude tent in, because the whole purpose of this build-up was to just keep things simple. You know, stop adding things in, throwing things in, because then you don't really know what worked, right? And so I was pissed off about that, so got rid of that. And then I decided to come to Portugal because, as you'll know from Lisbon, and I was looking at the Berlin half marathon, I was going to do that. But then with the week I was having, there was no way I was going to Berlin half marathon. I had also looked up the weather and it looked really hot again. And I don't mind that races are going to be warm, but I'm going to for damn sure train for the fact that they're going to be warm. So I came to Portugal where I knew it would be warmer than what it's going to be in London. And I knew then if I'm flying back somewhere, and even if it looks like the temperature might be warm, for example, I'm leaving a place that was warmer. And hopefully I trained well in that place. So I have that confidence and I've done that sort of heat adaptation. So I came to, you know, Portugal. It was more bloody travel up and down, and just like the travel home. So there's all this confusion. Is the tiredness from travel? Is it from the training? Is it all those double sessions? Is it those hard long runs? Oh, my brain was, bless it, it just needed a moment to just slow everything down, calm everything down. Where are we at? So day one, sadly, flew on the Thursday. Day one, I went to go do a session. It went better, but it still just wasn't right. Way better than Tuesday. And actually at the start of the session, the way the heart rate was, and I wear the Moxy monitor, and everything was looking good. But then I noticed this big sort of dive in the Moxy stuff, which likely means lactate's going up. And I noticed that the heart rate was creeping. And suddenly it's like, shit, you know, something's still quite not right. So I finished that run and I decided I'm gonna think, what could this be? So I started thinking, if Moxy was looking good at the start and it wasn't on the Tuesday, so there was definitely something else on the Tuesday, maybe the fact that it dropped off is because I didn't eat enough. So I started looking at like how much I'm eating, and then you sort of get into this like 2-3 weeks to go, trying to lose weight, all this sort of nonsense, and I thought, I don't think you've ate enough. So for 2 days, I eat a lot, I sleep really well, I get back on top of my hydration, I don't have any travel, you know, I get to bed early at night, I take the runs a bit easier, there's no steady runs. And then I wanted to move the long run from the Sunday to the Monday to give myself even more chance of it going well. And then I thought, no, because you don't get to move London, and we sure as shit we're not moving long runs from a Sunday to a Monday up the mountain in altitude. Oh yeah, Gary, Mo Farah, Bashir, I'm going to move the long run to Monday. You don't mind? I was a bit tired on Friday. No. The purpose sometimes of this training isn't to be fresh and tapered. And so I woke up Sunday, you know, I went not sure how it was going to go, but I did have this thing on the Saturday night, and I'm not preaching this channel, I'm very rarely philosophical. Something just happened, and I just had this, it's like I felt energy running through my body, and the confidence came back that I wasn't seeing tomorrow as daunting. 20 mile, pretty hard. I was like, yes, that's the Stephen I like. He's excited for tomorrow. He wants to go do tomorrow. He wants to do it hard, And I watched a few things on Instagram. I shared a few things, being present, being in the moment, stop focusing on the outcome, just dedicate yourself to your craft. Maybe something psychologically switched. Maybe it was enough time out of the altitude tent. Maybe it was just a case of getting better night's sleep without travel. I don't know. But I woke up Sunday and I was back to being tired again, because you are on a morning, and I went, oh, feck. And so up I got, and I got out, and I, started, cracking on. And I had done this thing with my psychologist in the middle of the week, and it was start, stop. And it was, start believing in yourself. Start focusing on the process, not the outcome. Stop internally beating yourself up because you're a bit tired. Stop internally doubting yourself and preventing yourself from achieving big things. It was a really important thing for me. So when I was out there on Sunday, I set off, I got into my rhythm. I didn't go super hard at the beginning. I sort of broke myself into it quite slowly. And remember that the goal was to get to a place that you're kind of working. And so you can't just sit in that comfy place. You have to start pushing on. And so I was able to push it on a bit. I did get the, maybe I will call it at 15, 16. It's been a tough week. You've traveled a bit. You were struggling. And I knew if London was to, really stand any chance of being a big day, I needed a big run. And then what I could do post that run is recover. And so that's what I've done since. So I got the 20 mile done. I was so elated. It had just been a tough week. I had sat on the couch, I'm in an Airbnb here, and honestly I was nearly in tears. Just sad that something that I had worked really hard for, it just felt like it was being pulled away for, maybe I did try too hard with the tent and the saunas. And so last couple of days, I've done a couple of steady runs. I've got some massage. I've been back doing little bits of gym like we talked about. I did the video on it. It was all about getting strength back in the legs, but not overloading, very little weights, just the long lever stuff, the holds, the isometric work, the calf stuff. When you have little bits of achy muscles, it's usually that you need gym. So I gave myself 3 recovery days after that hard run. Normally it would be 2, but because we're in the last 2 weeks, I just wanted to be absolutely positive that I'd recovered from what was a really big effort, big ask of the body to do that. So that's the thing with running. If you don't give yourself that time and space to recover, and I don't mean rest, and I don't mean I still ran at 6-minute pace, 6:05, I did those steady runs, and I still did double runs, and I still did some gym, but I just mean you don't have to rush back into a session or even a heavy lifting gym session that's going to break the muscles down more. And so get yourself recovered, let the adaptations happen. And now we've pretty much got 10 days, add some final touches. I'm not looking for anything else out of the training. And I mean that. I think I've done enough. I think I can run on a good day. London's, can we be clear here? London isn't necessarily as quick as Valencia and Seville. And if we're also being straight up here, I'm a bloody good athlete, right? And it seems to be on big days like Dublin and London in the past, I'm able to place really well, right? But I'm not out there running 206, 207 all the time. And so I kind of need things to really go my way. London can be difficult because sometimes you don't have people to work with. The weather isn't always 10 degrees and no winds, but you just work with what you've got. I can tell you right now, I will achieve a bloody good result at London, a bloody good result, because that's what I've trained for. And I doubt very much some people within where I'll be amongst, so whether it's top 10, that sort of thing, I don't know if they've done some of these hard, long runs that I've done and built on each of the marathons that I've already done. But it's hard to give a time goal, so I'm not going to. Because of weather, because of wind, this sort of thing, but I'm not going to immediately charge off at 2:08:10 marathon pace. I can tell you that right now. If I feel really good within the race as it starts to develop, there's a situation where I might, be running that pace, but I don't know. I'm going to treat it like I run my absolute best races, and I just race myself. It's that you versus you. Go at the effort that you know you can sustain for 26.2 miles. Don't give in to pressure of Olympics or this or that. If I run one of my best executed marathons ever, I believe I'm as close to as fit as I've ever been. I know I haven't done the altitude camp. I know I haven't been training with, Bashir Abdi and these titans of the sport. But trust me when I say I've trained really well. I'm going to give it a real good go. I'm shitting myself, if I'm honest, until you race a marathon. Let me tell you something. The fitter you get, the better prepared you get, the harder you can push for longer. That's the gift of running. When you're not that fit, you can kind of just run. And it's all about just getting to the finish line. The fitter you get, the harder you can hurt psychologically for longer. So I'm kind of shitting myself about that because Dublin was really hard. But I've prepared and I've got myself into a really good headspace where I'll just work with whatever's thrown at me on the day. Just like I did on Sunday, and I did the Sunday before that, and we call it just another Sunday. So do me a favor, check out the merchandise. If you want to buy a t-shirt, that'd be great. Check out the running school. All this whole journey is all about that. The work, this is the work. That's the quote I keep saying. Recovery stuff, the strength stuff, nutrition stuff. Remember that all that good stuff then enables you to train a certain way that creates the big result. But take care. Also be nice to yourself. I've gone back to some journaling where I'm being really positive to myself. Really, really positive. Well done today. Fantastic job. You nailed that long run. Proud of you. I did it for about a year before Tokyo. And every single night I signed off Tokyo 2020 and signed it and drew a big heart. I think there's a lot of power behind that. So good luck. Thanks for watching and take care.